So we're going to make the mausoleum. So these are the sprues. I've actually got some plans for these. I'm going to take a push mold of these for extra buildings I'll probably make. So one thing to know while you're cutting these out is these bits here. You're going to need to cut these out, and here. When doing this one, you're going to be really careful because this is going to be flimsy and delicate. So you can see what I'm doing. Sometimes it may be best to take small cuts at a time, and not even do it at one time. So you can see I've got, I don't know if you can see, I've got bits there coming. Once you chop the main bit out and just get rid of those, then maybe even use pliers on them, but that's what I would be doing for those. And these bits here on this bit, not too much of a worry because it's a chunky piece. You can just sort of go in, try and do it in one hit, but you're going to still need to tidy up the sprue bits that you cut off. There's some here, big bit there, and it's a teeny bit, but there is a bit here. This is what you get for mold injection. Yeah, a lot of that, so just cut these out. Yeah, and then what we're going to do, once you've done that and tidied those up, we can begin assembling it. I am going to remove pieces 12 and 13 now of these because I'm going to make a push mold. So looking at the instructions for the first mausoleum, you're going to need both of these bits from each sprue and both of these bits from each sprue, and you have to carefully cut them out. One thing to note is, we just went over, is to cut out the bit there that's for the injection molding, and get a tool. Subscribe, you probably got this, just a mold line remover, and you can sort of get rid of the bits in there to scrape it through like so, just to tidy that up. If they're a bit too big for it to cut, come in with your pliers and just try and remove them that way. You're also going to want to do the same here, just get rid of the where it's attached to the sprue, and just tidy them up like so. Right, next up we're going to glue it. I had sort of read that it's best to leave it unglued until you get the next part of it where you get the base. But then if you do that and you glue it actually onto the base and assemble it, you won't be able to get to the inside to paint. I mean, you could paint it first, I guess, but even if I had the base, I'd assemble it first. It's just the way I work, so just be aware of that. If you want to wait until you get the next set with the base in, please do wait, but I'm impatient, so I'm just going to assemble it. So what I'm going to do is get some glue, run it along the edges here and on this bit. I mean, it might make an interesting video of me trying to show people how to fit it to the base if they've already assembled it and it doesn't fit quite well. I've done a dry fit and it seems to go together quite well. So yeah, just putting some glue on the roof. So I'm just gonna come in this side. This side is quite fiddly, I found, especially I'm trying to do it on camera as well. So, which is quite difficult, as you can see. So a little tip is just to put it together, or clip it in like so here, then assemble it like this, and then put the other bit in on the other side. Helps if I get it the right way round, of course. And then underneath you should be able to just see where it pushes in. So push it in so it's nice and flush, so it's in there. And the roof has a bit of give in it, so if you have them, my recommendation is get some clamps and just hold that roof together while the glue dries. put them on top like so. So that's really clamping it together on there, and you just leave that to dry. Now I'm hoping, because it is such a good fit here, it's really tight. I don't know if you can see that. There's no gaps here, here. So I'm hoping now it will just fit into the base nicely. So put that to one side and we can do the other bit. Plastic glue doesn't take too long to glue. If you're new to the hobby, it effectively reacts to the plastic, melts the plastic, and you get sort of a weld almost. So yeah. So for the other bit, what you're going to need from the sprues, I've already started cutting it. You're going to need these bits. There's going to be these two bits here, and then the other bit here. So another bit here. So and again we move in this middle bit. So I'm going to cut these out and prep them, and we'll just get to the gluing stage. So the other side's pretty much the same. The only thing you're probably going to have to worry about is this section here, because when you glue it in, you're going to need to put glue along the edge of the roof there, as it sits in on. So this bit of the roof sits on top of that bit there. Also looking here, you need to run glue down there and then some carry on down here. Apart from that, it's pretty much the same. So it's a case of running glue along here and down there, down here. And I haven't shown this on camera, but it's always best to dry fit it first. I mentioned that last time. Really make sure you do it, just to make sure you've got rid of all the flash and it fits together and you don't have to make any adjustments. Do that. And so pretty much like before, put it in. Now this building, when you're pushing it together, I don't know if you saw that, has a tendency to flex. You want to make sure you got it at right angles now while it's still wet. You don't, if we're going to fit it onto a base, when we get the base, make sure that's not flexing, so it's all right angled up. See that? No gaps. It's in there nice, and like before, come in and fit the clamps on. Hopefully they'll stay on. You want to pop off this is being glued now, the other one. Come on, clamps. Right, hopefully it won't pop off. Yeah, next up, that's drying there, is the gargoyles. Now I thought these would fit in, there'd be a place for them to fit in, but they appear just to glue onto this side here. So just on the front, there's no actual, that made me jump, no actual slot for them to go on as such. They just seem just to glue on something like that. I've got a little rim around them, so I'm going to put that in line with the rim of the roof there, I think, like that. Probably can't really see that. I'm going to glue them in, and also ask myself why this clamp is not working and this side is just sliding off. Why are you not clamping, clamp? Do that, probably pop off again. But one thing I've done with the what I mentioned at the top of the video with these is, these will be quite good for making my own terrain pieces. If I ever make my own sort of extra bits for this. So what I did, got some blue stuff. Now this, I've got a video on it on the channel. You heat it up, it goes moldable, and so I made a press mold of the gargoyles. That's just the right one that will fit in there. probably this one, like so. So you just make a mould of it. It's just a simple 2-part mould. It's not going to be the most detailed. You know, I'm not going to get all the detail that these have due to the legs on the side, but I do have some green stuff versions here, if you can sort of see that. As I said, they're not the most detailed, but for bits that I want to do, I could quite easily add extra gargoyles on bits of terrain I've got. So I've got those for a future project. But for now, as I said, just going to put some glue on the back here, and this is probably going to get frustrating as heck, as gravity. There's not a lot of place, not a lot of purchase for the glue, but I'm just going to put them on like that. They appear just to sit there like that. They're actually holding on quite well. So yeah, what I've got, hopefully you might be able to see, you've got the ridge there, got the ridge of the roof here. There's a ridge of the gargoyles. I've just lined them up. It appears just to sit like that. So there's no, doesn't appear to have any slot or anything where it goes or a gap. It just lines up where you want. So that one went on quite easy. This one's going on quite easy. Make sure not wonky. Lift it up. There you go, that's that building. So now we're just onto the third and potentially more complex one. So again, like before, I'm just going to cut out all the pieces and get them ready. So this last one's going to drive me to despair. This is really quite tricky to do. Well, I find it tricky to do. So my tip is to, rather than glue it all at once like I have done before, do it in stages, 2 at a time. You're going to run some glue along the back bit here, along the ridge, and along the back of the arch of the roof, along the top of the arch of the roof here. And just, it fits in, this bit fits on the front here, and then this bit of the roof fits underneath. So, like so, hopefully you can see that. So, yeah. Do the same on the other side. So glue along here, glue along the angle of the wall here, and it just fits like so. And then while it's in this position, I'm going to add the glue on here. I found this the easiest way of doing it. And hopefully, without that happening, you can, yeah, there we go. You can get it all in. Now it has a tendency, it's going to be quite difficult to line up, to pop out, but just checking the bottom to make sure it's all lined up. There's nothing there, that's good. Leave that to one side. This, much more easier. It's just going to fit together like so. So you can sort of see where you're going to have to glue. So it's just along there, up the steeple, down the side here, down the side here. Now I'll just glue on together like that. Make sure it all lines up at the bottom. Be easier to do this on a flat surface like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to glue this on just yet. I'm not going to glue it onto the top yet. I'm going to come in with a paintbrush beforehand just to get the inside painted black. I think I'm probably going to do the same at the top here, just pre-paint the inside before I do this, but it's just going to sit on the top there when it's glued. I may have to come on once it's dry. I've got some raised bit of flash there, so I have to come along and cut that off and level it off. So I'll do that when that's dry. Leave it all to one side. Now these things again, our old friends the gargoyles. They're gonna go. Where do they go? They're gonna go on these steeples, these roof bits here. They're gonna sit. So you've got the side of the walls with skulls. That side has no skulls. They're gonna sit again like before. Just there's no real place for them to go as such. They're just gonna get glued on here. By the looks of things. So, I do find that weird, like I'm doing it wrong. They're just going to go and level it off. Center him. He doesn't want to be centered. Go on like that, I guess. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right, these gargoyles, I have to admit. Perhaps that's just me being doubting myself. Like so. And so that's the actual main assembly with glue. So on your sprues now, what you have left is the walls, which you can just cut out. That's standard. And these two gates, leave these in place because we're not using them until we get the next set. They're going to be the gates that go in the next set. So just cut out the walls. And then we're going to get undercoating. So with it undercoated, now I want to just get some colour onto it now. For this, what I'm thinking of is I want it to be sort of a bluey grey colour. So for this, I'm going to base it in Dark Reaper, which is lovely dark blue grey. But you could use the, I guess, the grey you got with Mortal Realms if you wanted to. This is actually not the one. This is Skaven Blight Dirge. Can't actually find the one we got in. Here we are. It's it, isn't it? Yeah, what's it called? Mechanica Standard Grey. We can see the difference here. This is more almost a blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and every bit of stonework I'm just going to paint in like so. I guess this is almost considered a heavy dry brush, an overbrush. I don't know, whatever technique you want to call it, but I'm not too worried if where there's detail I'm not covering it all and there's a bit of black showing. Not too worried. So I guess it's like sort of in right at the bottom base there. I'm not worried about getting it all in there. Can handle it being grey, being black. So I'm going to get on with this anyway. Difficult to paint and talk. So next, what I want to do is come in with a lighter blue grey. In this case, Spatial Wolf's Grey. I believe this is now called Fenris Grey, and just dry brush onto it. So, and what I'm gonna do is some of the detail, perhaps here. If you look on the actual Games Workshop site, they've got this in gold and bits and pieces like that. Feel free to do that. I just want a concrete. Full-on concrete mausoleum, really gothic looking. So I'm just going to come in and I just want to pick out all the edges. Try and do this on camera as quick as possible. I would expect you guys maybe spend a bit more time on it. Like on the spirals here, I just want the edges. Hopefully you can sort of see that. I was just making that detail pop. I'm not trying to get too much detail on the bits that aren't raised. Not too much paint on the bits that aren't raised. I'm going to carry on and finish finish doing this. Next up, it's the roof. Going to paint it, base it in Warplock Bronze. So come in, just paint it all. Okay, so now going to come in with some Reichling Flesh Shade, and we're just going to, a bit too much on there, to come over and apply that all over the roof. Doesn't matter if you don't cover all the metallics, this will just knock that sheen down a bit. What we're after. Whilst we're waiting for the roof to dry, because it's still quite shiny, we can come in and paint the metalwork. For this, I'm using lead belcher, and it's going to come in. It's going to paint the grate here, like so, and don't forget to do the back where we left it, and these little spikes here, these bits here. So I'm going to carry on with this while I'm waiting for the roof to dry, and then once that's dry, carry on the next bit of the roof while waiting for these to dry. With the roof dry, you want to come in with some brass scorpion and just dry brush it over the roof. Probably not even coming out on camera what I'm doing here. Hopefully you can see that. Just picking out those raised bits. That's what it looks like. Cool. And once more, whilst we're waiting for the roof to dry, I'm going to come in with some Nern oil, and I've got gloss here because I bought the wrong bottle, but I think it works better for metal anyway. And we're just going to paint that all over the silver bits we've done. That's on the grate and the spikes. Come over, give it a nice good wash, just to dull down the shine a bit. Now come to the fun part of the roof, which is using Nihilakh oxide, because we want this brass to look like it's been weathered, and this is what this is actually designed for. If you're new to the hobby, as it were, and you just got into it via this, you probably via these magazines, the Mortal Realms magazines, you probably use this already to paint your ghosts. But this is really what it's designed for. So you're going to come in and sort of paint it over the roof, a nice heavy coating. Try not to get any on the grey. It can be quite tricky, so what you don't want really is, let's see, brush strokes. So every so often I'm going to come in heavy and then dab my brush around, just to get rid of the up and down. The more you put on, the more corroded the brass will be, so up to you. My mindset is that these have been out in the open for centuries, so I want them to be nice and corroded, but put as little as much as you want. You see where it's pulled in, it's looking really quite cool. It looks better when it's dried as well. It's one of those things that you have to have a bit of faith in and wait until it dries to get the full effect. It's going to be something like that. And when it dries, it will look pretty cool as a brass copperized roof type thing. Pretty much the last stage from how I'm painting mine is going to be using some Reichling Flesh shade, and just on patches of the metalwork I just want to come in and dab in, just give it a rust type effect. Same on these bits here. Come in, maybe going heavy in some places more than others. Yeah, and that's pretty much it from how I'm painting all my Mausoleum pieces, but there are some bits that some have that others don't, which we'll take a look at now. Just one more thing before we look at the other bits is just to, if you want to, get some Morphang Brown and really water it down. We can just dirty it up a little bit. Let's just use a little brush. Come down and sort of put it in the recesses. Make it run down like where dirty rain's been on it all the time. Even if that's even coming out, but that's how subtle it is. It will just break up the blue as well. Probably the piece that will have the most work done is this bit here. So what I've got is I've just painted the roses black, and I'm going to leave them really jet black. But I've just picked out some leaves. You probably can't see that in this light. In green, and for that I just use Lorraine green. Now the ground I've already painted it in Steel Legion drab, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come along with some Agrax shade, and I'm going to paint that, shade that on now. So for any skulls, I'm going to use my favourite method, just undercoated them with Usabi Bone. I'm going to come in with some Skeleton Horde contrast paint. That's more. And just paint it over. Just do both sides. And you have a painted skull. Just do that to all the others. And when you've done all the skulls, you're pretty much done with all the other pieces. Pretty much done now. And with techniques, what I'm going to do is paint all the other bits, get them dry, and get them set up so we can have a look at the final result.